welcome to another edition of Own Your Creativity. I'm here with Michele Moreno, and she is this amazing expert on video. So I'm going to actually ask Michele to tell us a little bit about who she is and how she came to be the expert that she is now.
Oh my gosh, I am Michele Moreno. And basically, I dreamt my whole life of being an actress, but everybody on TV who had a hook nose like mine, there was nobody except for Eric Estrada from Chips and the Wicked Witch of the West. But that didn't stop me, and I went to Hollywood, and then I bombed on a game show, and I cried for a year. And I thought, how am I ever going to be a television actress if I can't even go on a game show without bombing? I mean, like, I panicked, and it was sad. So I found mentors, and I got onto camera, and 4 years of hundreds of auditions and Hollywood Hard Knocks, and no. I got onto Boston Legal on ABC as an actress, the NBC's Parenthood, FX's The Shield. I worked with celebrities. I did industrial videos. I did low budget. I did high budget, and everything in between. And then my husband was like, "You've got to make more than $12,000 a year." And trust me, on the west side of LA, like $12,000 a year, like barely pays for your Costco bill. So I was like, okay, fine. So I decided to teach people like in business how to go on camera with confidence. And I started with entrepreneurs, and now I'm kind of branching out into corporate leaders. But essentially, I teach how you become clear, concise, and confident on camera using secrets from the acting world.
Wow. So you say that we should have video, and we should have it now. Like, why is it so important to have video when you are creating your business, especially online?
You know, for online businesses, especially if you're not selling a product, if you are selling your service, and if you are part of that service, so we're talking, you know, coaches, consultants, authorities, experts, business leaders, people who are the face of their brand, it is almost impossible at this point not to be doing video. So essentially, your energy, the true authentic you at your expert best, is going to be your best way to reach the most number of people. Now, of course, you can do referral-based business. And if your referral-based business is rocking, then you don't need to do a single video. But if you find yourself constantly having to spend a lot of energy to get new clients, if you're in that position, then video is going to be the way to earn that trust online. So if you show your expertise, people will start to trust you. If you give people a quick win, now they really love you and start to see you as the go-to expert. Sure, Susie over here, she was okay, but Michele really helped me to conquer this or that, right? X or Y or Z. And then your energy and the way you work in the world is going to be great for some people, and other people are going to go, ugh, right? And if they know that in advance, and you don't have to get on the phone with them, you don't have to spend time, because they kind of already know you and like you from the videos. And then you can cut right to the chase, and you can have those virtual coffees or those consults that will really convert, because they kind of already know you. They already know your expertise. They're already getting help and wins because you're giving them solutions to their problems in a clear and concise way. And they like your energy. They like the way you talk. They like the sound of your voice. You know, sometimes in the past, without video, you get on the phone and the people decide, not for me. And you're like, ugh. Whereas if you have videos, at least a few on your website, you know that people already like you.
Yeah. So it's a much richer medium, because we do make a lot of our decisions based on nonverbal communication. It's not just, you know, the information that we're sharing, it's how we're sharing it, how we show up, our tone of voice. There's so many things that are that will affect our decision about whether we want to watch more of this person or not, and then to take the next step to book a consultation with them. So you said something really interesting about that, you know, you're solving problems for them in your videos, and they're getting to know, like, and trust you. So whenever you create a video, do you actually need to give information like that? Do you need to have a solution? And is that going to be really complicated? Is it going to take a lot of time?
Well, if you are creating your videos for strangers. Strangers will not spend more than a minute or two on you.
Mm.
Now, if you already have a huge following and they hang on your every word, Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Oprah, do they really need to do a 2-minute video? No, you're going to watch all 45 minutes, right? No matter what they do. But if
Right.
you're not known and you're trying to gain new clients, you want
Mm.
short
Right.
videos. And
Right.
in those videos, you want to start with what's called an opening hook, which basically says to that person, here is the reason you're going to want to watch this video to the end. So
Yeah.
you're going to state to them right up at the very top of that video, hey, today we're going to learn how to make a great video that will attract clients.
Yeah.
So now suddenly you're like, oh, well, I might want to attract clients with a video. I'm going to stay. So that's step number one. Then step number two, you have to actually deliver
Right.
some advice that will actually help them attract clients. So right now, let's say my video is called How to Attract Clients who don't even know you, like turn strangers into followers and then followers into clients. And I would start by saying, hey, don't make your videos longer than 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Strangers won't even watch a video that's longer than 90 seconds if they don't know you.
Yeah.
So boom, all of a sudden you feel better and you feel like, oh, gee, I could make a 90-second video. Step two, guess how you make a 90-second video? You just put one bullet point, one tip that will get them to the next step.
Wow.
2-minute video, 2 tips.
Yeah.
3-minute video, 3 tips max, right? Now you're
Right.
really getting to the upper edges there. And then at the end, to turn them into from a follower to a client, you give a good call to action, like, and if you want to talk more about this, or you can book a discovery session, or, get my free
Yeah.
gift over here. So that
Right.
call to action is then where you would start to nurture them and convert them into a client.
Right. And so another thing that I think is so interesting about doing videos, to nurture that prospective client relationship is that a lot of people have the same expertise. Let's say they're coaches and they've all graduated from the same coaching school and they all have their diploma or certificate, right? But then, like, how do they stand out amongst all of those other coaches who have the same certificate? Like, what would you say to somebody in that situation why they would use video?
Well, I have a program, a 7-week program, and I put a lot of visual personal branding into that program. Everything from the colors that you wear. Some people say they like my hair. So do you think that I spend a little extra time on the hair? I actually do, because people like that. I also know in advance my personal brand promise. So I happen to know the reason people come to me is that they like it because I'm fun, and they say I'm inspiring, and they like my confidence. So every single thing that I do, every video I make, at some point I'm going to be like, because they know that I'm the person who is a little, spunky and fun, right? I'm going to break into that big smile and be that inspiring, positive force. Now, if I was a goth coach and you really are into that and you want the goth video coach, you are not coming to me. Okay. And some people are into that and they love it. And they're like, ooh, give me more of the Queen of Darkness, right?
Yeah.
That's who I want to learn from. They're going to run the other direction. So I need to pick some personality traits. I need to know what I bring to the table. Now, I'm not going to pick something that I can't deliver on, right? Yes, you want to have a brand promise that you can actually deliver upon. If you are not smiley, funny, positive, then you are not going to be the fun sunshine brand, are you?
Right.
No, you have to work with your own personality. But at the same time, you can also, your brand doesn't have to be exactly a reflection of you. It can be something that you aspire to. And you make sure that you differentiate yourself. So if fun, confidence, inspiring is what you want, you're going to come to me. If you want the person who's got the process and they're going to be, all business, and they're going to be, I don't know, something the opposite of confident, more cerebral,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're more in depth, maybe they're more, they have their own spin, then that's what they're going to amplify on video.
Right.
And it's very important to know how you are different and better than other people. So the one thing that I would have to stress is a little bit of my process as I get closer to trying to convert someone into a client.
Right. And I love the way that you also say like we have to understand what makes us different in terms of our expertise, or like what our expertise is, but also what makes us different in terms of our personality, because we may have a different modality, a different approach to the same coaching situation, or entrepreneur skill set, or whatever. We may have a different way that we approach it, but we also have a different personality, and understanding our strengths and in terms of our personality style can actually factor into how we show up on video. And like one of the things that I think is so cool about what you do is that you love rap, and sometimes that you'll incorporate that into how you approach things. um, would you like to give us a little taste of that?
Oh my goodness. It's time to make a video. Put your inner critic in the back seat behind plexiglass so she can't make a peep. She can come along for the ride, but she can't drive. And you cannot listen to her. She can come out when the shoot is over, because there's a time when you need her by your side, and that's the time to watch the replay, because she's a master. She'll tell you faster how to improve. Just ask her.
I love it.
Okay, the rest you get the rest, the chorus and the hook. You get that in an upcoming webinar. But that was
Yeah,
a little taste.
that's awesome. and and so I think it's
Elizabeth Johnston, she's a great writer. She's a great storyteller. We love her. Okay, that was just freestyle.
thank you. and and so I think that that's part of video confidence too, is that understanding who you are and not being stiff about it. Because I think a lot of times when people get in front of the camera, they're so concerned of like, oh, I've got to like look like I know what I'm doing, and I've got to give them value, and they get kind of stuck in their head, and they're thinking all about themselves instead of how to make the viewer comfortable and have fun or understand something. Like I think that the shift has to happen from not focusing on you, but how can I make your day better, and do it in my own way, my personality. And so how would you approach helping people see that who they are as a person can actually be incorporated into their branding and into how they show up in front of video?
Okay, well, you hit the nail on the head. And the thing that transformed me from a bad actress to somebody who was actually booking jobs and getting paid was exactly what you just said, which is I stopped thinking about my own performance and I started focusing on things outside of myself. So you are such a deep thinker. You cannot sink her. Elizabeth Johnston, what rhymes with her? Okay, I don't have a line for the last, but what you said, okay, you cannot sink her. She's a believer, okay, because I'm a believer, because let me tell you, what you said is now we have to get out of our own heads, right? So the way that you get out of your own head, but still, amplify what makes you great is by focusing on the needs of the person on the other side of that lens.
Yeah.
You find that person, you write their little story, you know who they are. Either it's a real person, which that's probably the easiest thing to connect to, is a real person you love and who brings out the best in you. Hopefully it's a client, but if you're starting out or you just hate every single one of your clients, then make it your best friend or your dog or whoever's in that lens that's going to bring out the best in you. But of course, ideally, we want the ideal client to be in that lens. Now, some people put their ideal client avatar in the lens, the amalgamation of all the greatest people that they want to serve in one ideal avatar. Great. If that works for you, put that avatar in there. If your best friend or husband, whoever brings out the best in you, whoever you know is on your side, whoever you know is going to listen and hang on every word, that's the person you put inside that lens, because that's the person who's going to motivate you, right? Yeah. So you're not focusing on yourself, because when you focus on yourself, it is the death knell, because now you get trapped and you get worried and you start thinking about, I'm an imposter. I sound like an idiot. I'm saying too many times, and you break down and you start to hide, or you break down and you get frozen, or you just say, because you're so nervous. right?
Yeah.
Instead, you're not going to worry about little imperfections coming out. You're going to focus on the person and the other needs of the person on the other side of the lens. You're going to focus on the presentation of very clear and focused ideas. That's why you want to have your 3 bullet points, your 2 bullet points just taped right under that lens. And so
Yeah.
your focus is on them. And then if all else fails, then you put that person in the most extreme pain and situation of their lives. And you say to yourself, what I'm about to say is going to save this person, because that person on the other side of the lens is having such a bad day that what I could say could be a ripple effect on their entire lives. I could actually save their life. And that's what we call raising the stakes in acting. That's what you have to do in acting in order to push yourself into these dramatic moments that are bigger than life, because that's pretty much all you see on TV is these crazy extreme moments, right? So as actors, we have to raise the stakes. Why would we be like George Costanza, who freaks out when Elaine doesn't thank him for the big salad, right? He freaks out that she does not thank him for the big salad. Who does that? Nobody. So as an actor, you have to raise the stakes. And you, when you get on that camera, have to raise the stakes. So you could not be more right about where our focus needs to be outside of ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, they understand this when it's explained to them, but they still can't get over the fear of like getting in front of that camera and doing it. Do you have any advice for people who are just like, yeah, it makes sense, I know it would be good for my business, but I can't get there?
Right. Well, I do go into some of the real reasons, the subconscious reasons that we fear the camera so much in the webinar that you're going to talk about. But let me just tell you this one thing that just can help immediately. Um, and that is practice. You've got to just grab your smartphone and just put it into the selfie mode and hit record and just talk to somebody you love. You don't have to show them the video. Just, hey mom, I just want to let you know that I'm having a crap day today. Stop. Okay. And you just watch your back and you say to
Yeah.
yourself, how can I improve for next time? Well, gee, I look terrible. So next time I'm going to walk in front of a window with natural light coming into that window. And gee, I already look so much better standing in
Yeah.
front of this window, facing this window. And the next day you go beep and you say, hey, Elizabeth, I just want to let you know that blah, blah, blah. And then you watch back and you say, I could smile a little bit more. I think that would be
Yeah.
more friendlier. And then the next day you do it again. You do this ad nauseum. And I'm telling you, after a while, you get used to the way you look and sound.
Yeah, I guess it's similar to how when we hear our voice on the telephone machine, before we used to cringe. It's like, ooh, is that how I really sound? And now it's like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, is that how I really look on video?
Yes. Sound traveling toward you sounds completely different than sound traveling away from you from within your own body. So that
Mm-hmm.
the sound of your voice definitely takes some getting used to without question. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, I give that daily exercise to people because eventually then they can hit record. And after they kind of start to know how to look better, they start to know that the camera should be at eye level or above. They
Yeah.
start to learn how to express themselves and be more comfortable. Eventually they get so used to hearing themselves that they stop with all the negativity and can eventually, squeak out some expert advice.
Yeah. So one of the places that you do post a lot of videos that I've seen is on LinkedIn. And I really enjoy those videos because they are short and they're fun. Um, and and it's also like top of mind. So like every time I go into LinkedIn, pretty much every time there is a video from you in my feed. And I think that's a really important thing too, is the consistency and regularity of posting in order to increase our know, like, and trust and factor, but also just to help people see that we're there, like put ourselves on their radar.
Consistency is one of the hardest things, especially for somebody like me. I hate routine, what I did was I decided, since I hate routine so much and I was having real problems going Facebook Live every week, what I decided to do is just do it 2 times a month. And then the rest is just going to be all pre-recorded videos that I shoot, like 15 of them at once. Now that would be a lot for somebody who doesn't do a lot of video to do, but you could shoot 4 or
Yeah.
5 of them at a time if they're
Mm-hmm.
pre-recorded, and then just drip them out. That's what I do. So I
Mm-hmm.
drip them out. And LinkedIn algorithm heavily rewards video. Now, Facebook used to give videos, even pre-recorded videos, a lot of more exposure than they do now. But LinkedIn is still in the early phases of video. They're just now coming out with live, LinkedIn Live, and LinkedIn Stories is completely brand new. So whenever you can get onto these platforms when they have a very new medium that they're supporting, you get a lot more traction. I would say probably, Elizabeth, in a year from now, you might not see my videos pop up as often. But right now,
Yeah.
they're popping up all the time because not
Yeah.
everybody's doing the video.
Yeah. Wow. And so have you noticed a difference between Facebook Lives and LinkedIn Lives in terms of engagement or people contacting you?
Right now, I've found that Facebook Lives, I'm only really getting replay videos now. Oh, now you might have an audience that's more sort of dedicated to you, or they're really bonded to you. I don't think that I remember your open rates were like amazing. And mine are just normal industry standard open rates. So, but I think my crowd in general likes more the on demand.
Yeah.
So even though my YouTube doesn't get a lot, the LinkedIn, and I don't know if it's because maybe I seem more like a LinkedIn type, there's something about me and LinkedIn and the algorithm that just really meshes. And I can't say what that is, or if
Mm-hmm.
it's just the fact that because I'm doing videos.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
have noticed a big decrease, especially from 2017, on video on Facebook in general. But it's still a good idea,
Mm-hmm.
and it still is a great platform. And I have an audience on there. But like I said, I'm kind of dipping my toe twice a
Mm-hmm.
week, twice a month at Facebook Live, and then the other two I do my videos on YouTube and LinkedIn. I spread them both out, the same videos.
Okay. And is there any advantage that you notice or differentiation amongst the three platforms that you just mentioned? Like, is YouTube good for something that Facebook or LinkedIn is not good for in terms of video?
Facebook Live and all live videos in general are really, really good for things like this because Facebook loves it when you cross promote with a guest. And that's when I get the most traction on my
Hmm.
Facebook Live videos. So Facebook Live is excellent for interviews, I would say, and also for anything that is, meant to be fresh and current. And for example, we didn't have to really do too much preparation for this, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when you're doing pre-recorded videos on YouTube, you want to feed the algorithm because it's a search engine that is tied and owned by Google. So if Google and YouTube are playing so nicely together, you need to actually come up with a search engine optimized title. You also need to
Mm.
look for and put on your videos search SEO tags so that when people search, they'll find your video. So YouTube videos are much better for things like an answer to a how to do something question. So this interview is not the answer to somebody's query in a search engine. So it's better for something like a Facebook Live. But for
Right.
YouTube, if you want to answer how to use storytelling in your marketing, then they would find your video that has like the 3 top tips,
Right.
not a conversation with me about video,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it would be very, very specific to answering how to questions with your expertise, and the sweet spot is somewhere around 5, 6, 7 minutes. Now,
Yeah.
I use the same videos for YouTube as I do for LinkedIn. So the YouTube videos I do are more like 2 or 3 minutes, but that's
Okay.
okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be 7 minutes. It's just the sort of average sweet spot.
Right. Right. Um, and so for an author, let's say they have a book of poems, or they have a children's book, or they have a novel. How would you suggest they use video?
Well, I think if they have a book that's nonfiction that has expertise, then they can do things like build up their expertise and then refer to chapters in the book that either elaborate on it. So maybe you can touch on the 10-step system that you talk about in the book by going over the steps in a light manner, or go into some of the tips and say from more like this, refer to the book. If it's something like fictional, why not make something either like a reading of it and discussion, maybe a special guest who could talk with you, about the book. And so you're sort of replicating those shows where they interview the author, but you could actually just get somebody who knows your book or has read it and is excited about it. But you don't give away the choice ending already. You want people to read the book, but the person says, "Oh, I love that character," and how did you come up with that character, Shanda? And then the author will say, "Oh, well, Shanda, she's really just an amalgamation of my uncle and my aunt," or whatever. So I think making shows just like real life big TV authors do, like
Yeah.
when they go on the press junket, recreate that with a friend, or read a passage from the book and talk about some backstory or some behind the scenes or some hidden nugget that is not in the book. After you read the passage, you say, "You know why I wrote that passage? Because the day I left my daughter at the airport, I never cried so hard in my life," and then you go into it, and it's not exactly the same as that character,
Yeah.
but it was the birth of the blah, blah, blah. So all the things that people talk about that the big time authors do, you can just recreate it with your friends on Facebook Live. So that would be a segment that you would much better in something like a Facebook Live, because
Mm-hmm.
it's back and forth and conversational. Or, a reading of it in a very sort of contained discussion would be good for something like a YouTube or a LinkedIn.
I love
But
the
mostly authors are on
recreating.
Facebook, right?
I love recreating the press junket idea. It's so doable, and I think it would be so much fun.
You could do it in a pod. Like you can just get like your 5 other author friends who are in a similar genres and do it for
Yeah.
each other. I mean, there's so many ways
Yeah, like
to
a panel discussion. That would be so cool.
panel discussion, book reading club. I
Yeah.
mean, who doesn't love a good book reading club? And then,
Yeah.
maybe you start the book reading club and then week 7, it's your book.
Yeah. That's
But who
very
doesn't
cool.
love that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Great
Everybody loves
ideas.
book clubs. And now that you can't meet in person,
Yeah.
you could just do a virtual book club.
Yeah.
Form a consortium. It's like a little mini book label. Not a label, that's records as a label.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Publishing house?
Publishing house. Yeah.
The equivalent of a record label would be like a publishing house, where you
Yeah.
read each other's, or you talk about your
Yeah.
favorite line in that book, or you have the reading club and you have the discussion. There's
Yeah.
so many things you could do.
Awesome. All right. So, tell me more about the webinar that you have coming up.
Yes. And you're going to be there too to host it with
I
me. It is called Video Competence: How to Look Amazing, Sound Brilliant, and get more clients on camera. So essentially, it's about 40 minutes, and it will be very, very specific to how the best way to look good on camera and how to sound good, the best lighting, the best framing, where to put the camera, my favorite equipment that's not expensive that I recommend. And then I also get into a little bit about how to make an emotional connection that will inspire people to take that next step with you, which is what you really want to grab their heart and their emotions. That's really important on camera, because if you don't make that emotional connection, people don't take action. They really want to have that feeling from you, of your energy. And
Yeah.
of course your expertise as
Yeah.
well, no
Mm-hmm.
question about that, but it's that emotional connection that really inspires them to put their email into your free gift, or give you a call, or
Yeah.
make an appointment. And so we get into that as well. And then afterward, I will do a live Q&A only for the people who show up live. So you have to show up live to ask your questions, any questions that you want to ask, and I will address them.
That's awesome. So that's going to be next Monday,
Yes.
at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, 3 p.m.
And
Pacific.
yeah, 3 p.m. Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, great. So I'm going to post the link after this video gets posted on Facebook. I'll post the link for everybody that they can sign up. And I love it when we're able to hop on a Zoom call and like sort of behind the scenes, speak with the guest. It really it just adds another layer of excitement. It's great to be able to attend live while you're watching the webinar, but to be one of the ones that has hopped on the call, I think that's so fun. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. And bring whatever question. I mean, it can be related to video, it can be related to growing an online business, etc. But people love the Q&A because they get their
Yeah.
own specific questions answered.
Yeah. And I guess you could also maybe give them some tips, you know, when they show up on Zoom, and in terms of the background, you know, or
Yeah.
like for the way
And
I'm lit, probably it's not ideal. It's at nighttime and whatnot, and I don't have the right lights. You have this wonderful even, you know, light around you.
yeah,
And so, yeah, so maybe we can talk
I
about
can do
that
that.
during the
I,
webinar.
I can absolutely do that. I do, where I'm taking a look at your framing in the moment. So if you want me to do that during the Q&A for you and you come live in the call, I will definitely give you tips on how to improve your look.
Cool, cool. Well, thanks so much for taking time to chat with me today, and I look forward to speaking with you more next week.
Well, you're very, very talented. I'm going to toot your horn. We're in a group together, and she gives these recommendations on people's messaging and how to sort of reword what they do. And we're all like, oh, will you write my copy? So you're so talented at what you do. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So look for the link, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.